one thing to focus on. Some people have done this, but most care businesses haven't, is get really clear on who you're targeting. So are you looking, you might think you know your ideal recruit already. You might think that, I know carers. I've been in the sector for 10, 20, 30 years. I understand my audience. But the audience has changed. Things have changed a lot in the last 5 years, especially with COVID. We've had the Great Resignation in America, and we're feeling the impact of that kind of thing happening here now. So the one bit of advice I would give is get really clear on who you're targeting, by which I mean make a cartoon character of your ideal recruit and think about where are they living, what kind of accommodation, what are the details of their life, what do they have for breakfast. Go into more detail than you think would be necessary, because it gives you that perspective. And this exercise, and we do this with all our clients, but it turns up gems, it turns up little bits of information, like, for example, some care companies are desperate to find more long-term carers who can be more fixed, and they're trying to target younger carers, and maybe there's a demographic of elderly carers, maybe 45, 55, 65-year-old carers.
And maybe those two different people want two different types of job, right? Like that one might want lots of hours, one might want more flexibility, one might want not to travel too much.
And how you communicate is going to be completely different for both of those. If you talk to 55-year-old person who's returning to work after a break, after being a parent or whatever, they're not going to be interested in career progression. They might have done that already. They're probably more interested in what's the management structure like? Am I going to feel at home? Am I going to get to work with people in my community? That's going to be the focus, as opposed to someone who's younger that might be interested in career, or they might just be interested in if you can be flexible, if they have to go to the dentist, or that it's going to be a nice environment to work in. So depending on who you're targeting depends on the language, and if you just have one stock advert, you're going to miss 90%
and I think
of the
as well,
carers.
thinking about, you can tart up your marketing material as much as you like, but if you put a lovely skin on the outside of your apple, but your apple's rotten in the middle, you might attract a few people towards you, but when they take a bite, they'll leave, right?
Well,
so it is important to be a good company that looks after people, right?
Well, this is what I talk to people about all the time, York. Marketing is not about taking something that is one thing and selling it as something else. It's about storytelling. It's about telling your story of what you do. And obviously, if you have to up your game in terms of your recruitment by making sure that you are a good provider and you do good things for your staff, and you're running lots of internal reviews and making sure that you're a good person to work for. You're a good employer, because marketing should run through a business like a stick of rock. It's not just the front end, what we talk about. It should be the people working on directly with clients should understand why marketing is important. So even if they don't want to be on camera, they understand why it's important, because they understand that marketing is not something that is kind of manipulative. It is about storytelling. It's about saying this is Ethel, or this is Rachel, or this is a relationship they have built over a series of years. So whether they're home care, whether they're care homes, about making sure that you're sharing the culture.
Probably a lovely way of articulating this. So Hannah, who's your project manager, we were just talking about how this
ops
is
manager.
Ops manager. That this is like bedtime stories, like CBeebies bedtime stories, right? And I said, well, I'm no Tom Hardy, and if I put Tom Hardy's profile picture on my online dating profile, not online dating, I'm happily married, but then people, and then I meet someone to go on a date with them, and I'm not Tom Hardy, they're going to be probably a little bit disappointed, I'm sure. Stand up with them, but so I think that's the idea. If you lie in your marketing and you're not true to who you are, you will attract the wrong type of people. You attract people who just then leave, and the same thing works across the board. So I think it's really important to be true, to be honest.
And most of the work that we do with our clients, especially in the first sort of we have big long conversations at the start of relationships. Most of that work is just extracting all the details and then crystallizing that out into a message. Of course, there's tips and tricks and ways that we can get that message out there, and there's stuff that we know as marketers that will help boost that. But the core message should always come from the inside. It should come from the culture of the company. And what we say to people that are like, we ask people all the time, what do you do that makes you stand out? What makes you different? And if they can't clearly articulate at least 3 things, that's their problem. They don't have a marketing problem, they have a message problem.
Yeah, and I think so. Big piece of advice then for people is to sit down half a day, really think about who that recruitment avatar is, or if there's multiple, and then look beyond that. Does your advert talk to that person? Does your process deliver, quickly for that person? Do they want to be chatted to on WhatsApp, or would they prefer to use email? And really start to understand, because often what happens is not that there isn't enough people, it's that the right messages aren't attached to attracting the right people to come along. Not to say there isn't a shortage of people who might want to work in care, but like you've seen, it's possible to do that.
Yeah, it's possible as a care home or a home care business for recruitment not to be a problem, but you need to have done the ABC, and it starts with avatars, it starts with making sure your message is refined, and then once you've got that, you can go through all your collateral, your website, you can have a look and say, okay, this is Jane, she's my carer, this is the message we're trying to get across, have we articulated that clearly in a way that Jane's going to understand? And it makes everything so much easier. Because half the problem in marketing is knowing where to focus your energy and where to focus your attention, because you can do anything. You social media, you can do video, you can do website. Where do you focus your energy? And it starts with that first step of who am I targeting, what's the message? If you do that, everything becomes easy. If you don't do that, you market to nobody.
I've got one more big question for you before we hand over to Steph. Is that right? We're going over to Steph shortly. This morning at breakfast, I was a bit late, everyone was waiting for me, and we were talking about toast.
Right.
And talking about how much we all love toast, and one of my team said, oh yeah, I just have jam and no butter. And I was like, what do you mean jam and no butter? Of course you have butter and jam.
Yeah.
And then another one of my team members said, no, I just have jam. I wouldn't have butter. Why are you putting butter on everything? So where do you stand on this? Did you butter and jam?
I'm worried about your team.
I know, I'm too.
The butter is I'm vegan, so I use olive spread or whatever.
All good stuff. Yeah, good stuff, yeah.
You have to have the base layer of fats. Otherwise, it's too dry.
Yeah, exactly.
Even with the wet of the jam, that's no good.
So
I'm horrified.
I'm horrified. So the offending people are Sakara and Harper. So I think we should bring national shame upon them.
We need to have a.
But I know you're the fourth person I've asked.
I've never heard of that.
So anyway, thank you very much for coming to see me, Alfie. Thank you very much for confirming my suspicions that my team are weird. And we will hand over to Steph now, who is live and ready to go. Maybe with a pony. I don't know. Over to you, Steph.